A busy agenda awaits heads of states of European countries on Thursday, who will convene to discuss Ukraine, continental security and climate targets.
The European Parliament awarded the Sakharov Prize to two imprisoned journalists from Belarus and Georgia.
The International Court of Justice said on Wednesday that Israel must adequately supply aid to Gaza and enable the UN agency UNRWA to resume operations.
The crown jewels stolen in a dramatic heist at the Louvre, the world's most visited museum, were worth 88 million euros according to a Paris prosecutor.
A busy agenda awaits the EU heads of state and government on Thursday. Leaders are set to discuss the latest on the ground in Ukraine and explore ways to further boost support for Kiev. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is expected to deliver an address to his fellow leaders. Heavy on the agenda for the bloc is defining what financial support for Kiev for the coming years will look like. Leaders are set to revisit Commission President Ursula von der Leyen's proposal for using frozen Russian assets to extend a loan to Ukraine. Defense and security are also on the agenda. This summit could mark the end to a cycle of announced commitments aimed at bolstering European capabilities. The 27 member states will be expected to move to practical steps and implement new concrete measures, objectives and projects. Competitiveness will also be discussed. The EU has been engaged in a simplification initiative for several months. The bloc is likely to look to advance these efforts. One issue could remain a sticking point, however, is the climate issue. The upcoming discussion will look to find common ground on agreed climate targets.
A Paris prosecutor estimates that the crown jewels stolen in a dramatic weekend Louvre heist were worth 88 million euros, and the monetary estimate doesn't include their historical value to France. Prosecutor Laure Becau, whose office is leading the investigation, said on Tuesday that about 100 investigators are now involved in the police hunt for the suspects and gems after Sunday's theft. Meanwhile, as questions continue to be asked over security, the French culture minister says the Louvre's security systems did not fail during the jewel heist.
Non, ils n'ont pas été défaillants. C'est une réalité. Les dispositifs de sécurité du musée du Louvre ont fonctionné. Et comme vous le savez, mais je vais vous répondre après, il y a des questions. Et comme vous le savez, j'ai diligenté une enquête administrative qui fera en toute transparence le détail des événements survenus dimanche dernier.
Sunday's theft from the world's most visited museum has shocked France, with some officials describing it as a blow for the country. According to local officials, 8 objects were taken in the heist, which lasted 8 minutes in total, including less than 4 minutes inside the Louvre.
The European Parliament awarded the Sakharov Prize for freedom of thought to two journalists, one imprisoned in Belarus and the other in Georgia. Andrei Pochobot, a correspondent for an influential Polish newspaper, was convicted of harming Belarus national security and sentenced to 8 years in a penal colony. Zia Amaglobeli, a prominent journalist who founded 2 of Georgia's independent media outlets, was convicted in August of slapping a police officer during an anti-government protest. She was sentenced to 2 years in prison.
Both are journalists currently in prison on trumped-up charges simply for doing their work and for speaking out against injustice. Their courage has made them symbols of the struggle for freedom and democracy. And this House stands with them and with all those who continue to demand freedom.
Alexander Lukashenko, nicknamed Europe's last dictator, has ruled Belarus for over 3 decades, maintaining his grip on power through elections dismissed by the West as neither free nor fair and violent crackdowns on dissidents. Over 1,200 people, largely political enemies of Lukashenko and dissidents, are currently behind bars in Belarus.
This decision by European Parliament sends powerful messages. First one to dictators that the truth cannot be imprisoned. And of course to political prisoners that they are not forgotten. because every word of solidarity breaks through the walls of Belarusian prisons and gives hope to those who keep fighting.
The annual EU award, named after Soviet dissident and Nobel Peace Prize laureate Andrei Sakharov, was created in 1988 to honor individuals or groups who defend human rights and basic freedoms. The awards ceremony will take place in December in Strasbourg.
Cypriot President Nikos Christodoulidis has for the first time elaborated on his country's six-point plan for Gaza's future in an exclusive interview with Euronews. He is presenting it to EU leaders at the European Council summit in Brussels this Thursday. He detailed that for this specific plan, which is backed by the European Commission, Cyprus wants to repurpose its Amalthea humanitarian corridor set up in March last year.
Cyprus presented back in October 23 in Paris, following the terrorist attack of Gaza, an idea for a humanitarian maritime corridor from Cyprus to Gaza, and we did it. We deliver with the support of our partners, the European Union, the United States, UK, UAE, and we are ready at this stage as the representative of the European Union in the region to deliver once again.
The proposal will touch on various aspects of the Trump plan, including humanitarian aid delivery and boosting economic development. He stressed that Cyprus can also play a key role in reconstructing Gaza. However, for this to begin, he noted the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel must hold.
When we reach the stage of ceasefire and the conditions are there, reconstruction should start. And that is why point 3 of our proposal is the rubble removal and reconstruction enablement. So development, and this is the role that Cyprus can play, development of maritime routes for rubble extraction and inbound construction materials in Gaza in order to support Gaza's rebuilding and, of course, economic revival.
Christodoulidis argued that Cyprus is geographically in the ideal position to play a key role in Gaza's future by leveraging its position as a bridge between the EU and the Middle East.
The International Court of Justice said on Wednesday that Israel must allow the UN aid agency in Gaza, UNRWA, to provide humanitarian assistance to the Palestinian territory. The court, based in The Hague, was asked by the UN General Assembly last year to determine Israel's legal obligations after the country effectively banned the agency from operating there. UNRWA was banned after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his far-right allies accused Hamas of being deeply embedded within it.
The court finds that Israel has not substantiated its allegations that a significant part of UNRWA employees are members of Hamas or other terrorist factions.
The court also stated that Gaza has been inadequately supplied, noting that Israel has an increased international obligation to provide aid given its increased control of the territory.
The court finds that the local population in Gaza Strip has been inadequately supplied within the meaning of Article 59 of the Fourth Geneva Convention. In such a situation, Israel, as an occupying power, is under an obligation to agree to and facilitate relief schemes under that provision.
The opinion was celebrated by Palestinian officials present at the hearing and top UN officials, including Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Israel, however, rejected the top UN court's assessment and in a statement asserted that the country, quote, fully upholds its obligations under international law. The closure of gynecology and obstetrics emergency rooms has caused the number of ambulance deliveries in Portugal to skyrocket. Considering all hospital crises, from long waiting times for critical surgeries to staff shortages, the National Medical Emergency Agency, INEM, says over 150 births were recorded outside of hospital from January to mid-September. At least 2 more deliveries were also administered by fire department personnel in recent weeks.
Já assistimos a 15 partos em ambulância, é recorde que nós não procuramos, nem o queremos sequer. o local para o nascimento de uma criança é a maternidade, o local para a mãe ter uma criança é na maternidade.
Constraints in the gynecology, obstetrics, and delivery room services mainly affect the Setúbal Peninsula in southwestern Portugal. Local fire departments have also been reeled in for assistance to help transport pregnant women to other hospitals.
Nós, o último parto, o 15º, íamos para o Garcia de Horta. O Barreiro encontrava-se em Sade, íamos para o Garcia de Horta. Teve que ser no meio da A33, uma estação de serviço.
The commander acknowledged that this is not an ideal situation.
Não deixa de ser um sítio que não é controlado. E pode aparecer complicações no parto, como é normal. Se aparecem nas maternidades, também podem aparecer numa ambulância. Nós estamos preparados para algumas eventualidades, mas não somos obstetras, não.
In Parliament, the health minister revealed that 3 hospitals in the Setúbal Peninsula are continuing to experience a, quote, very difficult situation. She added that the increase in home births were also of tremendous concern.
Para estas famílias e para estas crianças e para estas mães não têm tido desfechos fatais, é porque exatamente, apesar de tudo e de tudo o que se diz, o INEM chega a tempo, aciona a VMER, aciona a CIV e faz o parto em ambulância com o médico e com o enfermeiro.
A Ministra da Saúde já adiantou que a solução passa pela construção do novo centro materno-infantil para a Península de Setúbal. O concurso deverá avançar em 2026, mas a obra só deverá estar concluída daqui a 2 ou 3 anos. Joana Mourão Carvalho, para a Euronews, em Setúbal.